All right, guys, this is Short Side Wristers. I'm No Sleeves 12. I'm here with Brodie from League Gaming. How's it going, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I can't complain. It's a little early, but that's how it is. We're here to talk about Sixes eSports because it's an actual thing now. So let's jump right into it. Tell us a little bit who you are and what you do for League Gaming first and foremost.
Yeah, so I'm Brodie McDonald. My handle is LG McDonald. I'm the director of hockey operations from LeagueGaming.com. LeagueGaming.com is, we started out free to play website, try to simulate the real NHL via Sixes hockey. We've expanded our leagues from the NHL, the AHL, to CHL. So we kind of run 3-tier leagues between both consoles right now. We're close to 8,000 active players that take part in our free to play leagues. Then recently we've jumped into more of the more competitive scene, trying to get the top Sixes teams together. They play one another. We've been doing that for a few seasons now. Started out back when Nuge and some people put together a pro series. Basically, the top Sixes team, buy into a tournament, and then they play for the money that they've bought into. So that's kind of where the esports Sixes stuff has brought us to where we are today.
No, yeah, man, it's been a nice long ride. It's definitely been taking a back seat compared to versus, which is unfortunate because I think the most competitive, from what I've seen, is with Sixes. But let's talk about the new esports event with Space Esports. Tell us a little bit about this event, the rules, the teams, how many signups, what's it looking like so far?
So basically, what we're going to do is, Space Esports approached us recently, and they've run a lot of a lot of own events themselves. So they kind of were interested in getting into hockey, and some of their guys that work for them play in the league and stuff. So they said, well, why don't we just reach out and see what LG has can do for us, and if we can partner up and go from there. So that's kind of how it all began. It's been a long road. I think we've been in contact with them since the beginning of December. So it was nice to finally finalize everything and get everything worked out. So basically, the event is just going to be a random 3-week season. So the teams that we have, I think currently this morning I checked quickly, we had about 58 teams signed up, which is
Wow,
pretty awesome.
of all
So
at least six roster members, right?
yeah, most of them are 8, so it's actually quite a bit of teams that we have, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So basically it's gonna be a random 24-game season, and then the top 8 teams, based on win loss, will end up playing in the playoff. First round of the playoffs will just be the typical game nights that we're used to. So the Sundays and Thursdays where the Esports League take part on, and then that same weekend will be the Final Four will be the live stream event with our commentators and the production team from Space Esports will be the Saturday, and then obviously the final 2 will take part best of 7 on the Sunday as well, and then the winner takes all, and then we can crown the winner of that event.
$2,000. $2,000 is nothing to sneeze at, man. That's a good price. So, what was the reasoning behind? I mean, I know that there's a bigger or longer following on Xbox as far as Sixes go. Was there any decision as to which console to run it on? Because it is Xbox only.
Yeah. So right now, the Xbox seems to be a little better for us here on LG. We have majority of the top teams, and even the top teams from PlayStation have been swung over from from PlayStation on Xbox as well. So it was kind of a no-brainer for us to continue that in that direction. The other thing too, which is kind of nice, is the Ed Snyder event that occurred last year for Versus. A big chunk of the money that came from that event, I believe, was sponsored by Microsoft itself. So we're hoping then to bring this to light, show that Sixes is kind of true competitive esports hockey, and then maybe bring in bigger sponsorships to this side to bring bigger and better events for the Sixes community. So the combination of what we have to offer for Xbox, plus where the current community sits on our website, who I believe is probably the top 2% of the league, or top 2% of the people that play the game, right? So Xbox was kind of the no-brainer to kind of start out there and go from there.
For sure.
Obviously, the PlayStation exclusive guys are a little bit upset, but
No, for sure.
I think down the road, if we can expand and continue to bring in decent sponsorships, there is opportunity for us to maybe do some stuff for just PlayStation exclusive as well.
Why do you think that? Just because I play PlayStation, so what was the? Well, I play Xbox too, but on PlayStation, what's the reasoning behind? Do you think that it's so much more competitive on Xbox, or at least seen as that? Is it just because you guys have been around longer on Xbox?
It's really hard to say. I play both consoles as well too, especially for the leagues and stuff.
Yeah.
And the style of game is incredibly different depending on what console you play when you're playing Sixes. I find PlayStation is a little bit more passive. sit back, and there's a little bit more time and space for players to be creative. Where
Mm-hmm.
the Xbox side of things are really, really man to man, really, really in your face. It's a different style of hockey to play. I know I find when I go from if I play a ton on the PlayStation and then I jump to Xbox, I know I find that I'm a little bit slower with the puck because I'm used to having more time and space on the PlayStation side than when I would on the Xbox side. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I know even since NHL 09 and NHL 10, when EA ran some events themselves, and they did a crossover event, I believe. I think it was maybe NHL 09, and even in that, like the Xbox team that went to the finals and played off against the PlayStation team, like smashed the PlayStation team. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't any really, there's really any competition. And even too, I found in the league and stuff as well too. There seems to be more depth when it comes to having a 3-tier system than on Xbox than there is on PlayStation. And yeah, you could be right as well that the fact that the Xbox side definitely has been around longer, right? So it gives more opportunity for depth. So it's hard to say what the difference is, but I do definitely notice a stylistic difference when I play on either console. So
have you been noticing still the PlayStation errors as far as that goes? Like, or is that subsided pretty much to be completely gone, or at least gone enough?
I wouldn't say completely gone. I know EA recently told us that they put some work into that stuff and the networking side of things, so we should see a reduction in what the errors are. I know I played a game last night. I was playing PlayStation last night, and I saw like 1 or 2 out of I think maybe 10 games, which is a little bit better.
That's better. Yeah.
I know a lot of players have been switching their DNS settings to what the defaults. I think it was like 8888 and 8844 or whatever.
Yeah.
I find like a lot of little changes like that have made a difference in what's going on with that as well. But there has been a reduction in the amount of times it's been occurring, and hopefully that's something that gets addressed and completely removed as we move into NHL 20 and later in NHL 19.
For sure. So, Sixes has been kind of left behind in the esports scene compared to Versus when you're talking about the NHL and whatnot. What do you see going forward after this event? And do you think you have other partners lined up to do an event like this now that you've had an organization one where it wasn't just you fronting the money? You've kind of partnered with another organization. Do you think that there's a future tournament after this one for NHL 19?
So yeah, no, Sixes definitely has taken a little bit of a backseat, which I agree. It does make sense to some degree. Versus is 1v1. It's easier to kind of financially set up. It's less logistics. So no, as the NHL and the NHL teams are jumping into the esports world, 1v1 tends to be easy and simple and kind of the smart business play for them as they kind of dip their waters into esports.
I agree.
So for us, no, definitely. This event with Space is awesome, and we're looking forward to hopefully running some more events with Space in the future as well. So this is kind of our first crack. I shouldn't say our first crack, but our first official big event. We're kind of baby steps for us. We're going to try to do the best we can to offer something that's different, fun, and still have the same branding and what everyone's kind of used to from what we can offer here on LG. So in the future, there definitely is hope that this will shed some light on where the best players are playing. I'm hoping the gameplay is as incredible as it can be, so people can really see that Sixes is a little bit more exciting to view and watch and be a part of. So that's kind of the hope is, and then from there maybe bring in, like you said, additional sponsorships or additional people that want to be a part of what we can offer for Sixes. And obviously the grand scheme of things is to be able to get to a point where we can bring in someone or have a big enough following to allow us to do a live event. Like live events are kind of what everyone wants, right?
Yeah, so, everyone wants a live event.
So even in the Sixes community, it'd be a little more difficult to do and require probably a little bit better financial backing. But at the same time, our goal is to start offering to offer something that is appealing enough that a big enough company will walk in and say, this would be better at a live event, and then give us an opportunity to help them run something along those lines for Sixes. That's kind of our end game and our goal, and hopefully that's something we can accomplish within the near future and really give the Sixes community something to play for and play towards, because I really do feel that with my experience with the guys that are playing Sixes and how the gameplay is, I definitely think that Sixes is a little bit more exciting and kind of where people can really showcase teamwork, individual skill that Sixes hockey is.
It's interesting because Sixes is definitely NHL is more of a niche game that has a smaller following than some of the other sports games, and then Sixes is kind of a niche part of that community or niche part of that game. So it definitely has a smaller following, but it's a 100% more passionate. Like the Sixes community is, I think that there's a giant land grab for anyone, any organization or anyone that puts together some events for Sixes can definitely take advantage of the fact that no one's doing it, and especially because esports is slowly becoming a thing with the NHL, which I think is big because it's not just random organizations or organizations putting on, like the NHL is getting involved. I think that more and more that goes through. If someone who takes advantage of sixes and puts together some sixes events, the live one's obviously a little difficult, but the first one that does it, I think, is going to benefit gigantic from it because the community is so dedicated to it.
And even too, there's a couple things I've considered over the years. I've been with LG for over almost 10 years now, so a lot of the considerations. The NHL really promotes themselves. I think it's in the month of February for hockey is for everyone. Well, what better way to expand their hockey is for everyone than into esports, and even more so, hockey is for everyone into the sixes community. There's 12 players on the ice. It's your virtual career. It's your opportunity to showcase what you can offer at that tier and be a professional player. And don't get me wrong, if you look at all of the players that are currently are really successful on the 1v1 scene, they're all incredibly skilled individual players and guys that are really strong at playing sixes.
A lot of them play sixes.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of the guys that are that are flashy. If you watch Gren play versus, and then you watch him play sixes, he's an incredibly skilled individual player. So you put him on a team with 5 other guys that are equally as good. Instead of watching one Gren play, you're watching 12. Yep. So in my opinion, it offers more. And then like I said, the biggest thing is the NHL wants to expand. They want esports. There's opportunities. Even if let's say the Boston Bruins want an esports affiliate team, so maybe that could be whatever whatever club team. So Boston Bruins come to us. We put on an event for them. The winner of that event becomes the Boston Bruins official esports sixes team. You do that 10 times with 10 organizations, and then the 11th event they all come together and play each other. There's lots of opportunity. There's lots of opportunity. Everyone looks at AHL affiliation to the NHL. Well, why isn't there esports affiliation to the NHL? And then all those teams can be represented by top tier club teams that maybe win their affiliation or get signed or whatever it may be, and then they just play each other. And to be able to play each other, that's something that's very easily facilitated for those of us on league gaming that have experience with scheduling and the stat system and promotion and all that stuff, right? That's kind of that's our bread and butter. So as long as we can just get some backing. And for people and for teams and NHL teams to maybe jump aboard, then we can take this and run with it for sure.
For sure. Let me ask you this: how is Space Esports involved with this event? Was it the prizing and promotion? What kinds of things do they bring as far as them specifically? So not what you're bringing on, but what did they help with in terms of this event?
So they're the sole sponsor of the event right now too, right? So the prizing itself was put up by them.
Okay.
Right now as well too, they have additional sponsorships from additional events they've ran. So the winning team will get their custom branding, esports jerseys made by a company that sponsored that sponsorship and that partnership is something that Space had. That's something LG didn't have as well, right? And then obviously the production side of things too. They run a lot of live events, but they run a lot of online events as well. So their production team, we're going to team up with. They're going to get Davos as the commentator, but their production team and their stream team and stuff will be the ones that are going to help set up, really make the final 4 and then the final 2 event really look visually appealing. Really showcase some stuff from the sponsors that we have picked up and. Hopefully really make this event something special when it gets down to the those final 4 teams.
No, for sure. Yeah, Davos is a great commentator, by the way. Has that voice. Excellent. Legit has that commentator voice. I think he's gonna make the broadcast really good and really exciting. I've caught a few of them just recently.
Yeah, he's pretty incredible for sure. He started doing a bunch of CHL stuff, and we were moving a game a week in the CHL to offer the game of the week stuff, and that's kind of where he got his break. And then just the more and more people that have heard him commentate and get involved, is more and more people have said the same thing as you said, and really appreciate what he could bring to the table. And I think he's been definitely an asset to us, and really going to make the Sixes stuff kind of come to life. That's for sure.
For sure. How many people play on each console?
On each console, so right now signups are just north of 6,000 prior to the season beginning. But normally, by the end of the season, when we close signups for the actual season, both consoles are relatively close to 4,000 each, so about 8,000 total.
That's crazy.
And the site itself right now is about almost 40,000 users with about 4 million page hits a month. So we're quite busy and. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. We do pretty well in regards to putting stuff out, but we also have, like you said, it's a very, very small and niche community, but it's very, very passionate, right? So we have a lot of people that spend a lot of time on the website,
I'm not
right.
playing. I'm still in the show box.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's a lot of people that once you get involved with this community, it's very difficult to walk away completely. So we have a lot of guys like yourself that may not have the time to play anymore, but are definitely still involved with the community heavily. So
The thing I've liked the most is that like not just like there's the people there. Obviously, it's not always family friendly, but like that's hockey. But like the people that you'll meet that are just good at the game, and like it's so easy to like find stuff. Like when you find a site so like LG, just the show box alone, and then you get on a team and you have to play like 3 nights a week with the same bunch of guys. It's very easy to find people that are like minded that actually build find a couple buddies with. It's very good at that because like there's so many good versus players that I've met because of and hut players because of LG, and then when you factor in the fact that there's other games and things like that, like it's just a very good, easy way to find people that are like-minded as far as when you want to play sixes and NHL as a whole.
No, exactly. No, that the one aspect and probably the one thing of LG that people kind of take for granted is the fact that like right now, it's one of the easiest ways to network via the community. Back in the day, if anyone played 09, 10, 11, 12, I know everyone was used to how the lobby system was set up in regards to how the leagues actually used to run. There was like online team pay lobbies you could go into. You could type in the chat box in there, blah blah blah. So the way that was set up, kind of mimics how things are on the website right now. So with the drop-in system being changed on next gen stuff, those chats and things are gone. So the network via the game tends to be a little bit more difficult than what it used to be. So sites like LG and other sites that offer league play and stuff, that have this ability to allow teams to network, I definitely think is what keeps this community going and alive, and allows the top tier players to kind of play against each other and meet each other and kind of go from there. So yeah, that's the big aspect of LG, which I think a lot of people kind of forget about, is our ability to kind of keep this community together and allow you guys to network and kind of play with each other and play other games and that sort of stuff. So that's important for sure.
So someone brand new doesn't know what LG is. Tell us how long it's been around for the people that don't know, and give us some insight as to how it's run. So like you want to sign up, right? What happens next?
All right, so we're pretty much in our 15th year. So LG's been around for a very, very long time. So when you sign up to the league, depending on what console you're on, there's a verification process for both consoles. So Xbox has a pretty good one as well too, since we have a partnership with Xbox ID. So we get you to link your Xbox gamer tag to the site, and then from there we can just verify that you're a gold member. If you don't have your own gold membership but you're sharing with an additional account, we just ask for additional information just to ensure that we have individual users on the website for each player. On the PlayStation side of things, it's very, very similar as well too. We require each player to be, a PSN Plus player. Once again, but if the account you signed up with is sharing Plus from your secondary account, we just ask for additional information as that as well, just so we can link it all together, so we can ensure that every single individual has only one account on the website, and only using one active account on the site is how we do it. Once you get through the verification process, then you're free to join pretty much anything LG has to offer. So we offer, like I said, the simulation 3-tier base leagues on both consoles. So that's the LGHL. Friday nights we offer Friday Night Puck, so it's kind of like go to the rink, pick up draft style, so that's an option as well too. Saturdays they offer the same thing, some sort of style thing, and Saturday Night Puck. It's tiered more towards the CHL and AHL players to kind of give them an opportunity to maybe play an event where they weren't able to on Friday night. The eSports league stuff is like what we're kind of talking about today in regards to the pay to play and the events where the money's on the line, and it's kind of bring your own team, where the LGHL and other things are built on bidding or draft systems, or how team selections are made. And then obviously we offer some soccer, some basketball, and some other things as well. So that's pretty much in the gist of what LG has to offer, how the process goes. The biggest thing to keep in mind too is the vetting process. It can be a little bit lengthy at times depending on what information is required. So just be patient when you come on. Once you get through the vetting process and you're part of the website, it definitely will make a big difference, and you'll be able to really enjoy it. So I handle majority of the vetting myself, so you can hit me up on Twitter, Discord, or even on the website itself. A lot of the information I handle via the website. So right on your main screen when you sign up, you'll get a big notification box that says click this button here to start the vetting process, and that's all you really have to do, and the rest I can handle. So keep that in mind.
So a lot of people, it's like a lot of people that message me about that will be like, "Hey, I've vetted. What do I do?" Is it best to just message you on Twitter?
Yeah, they can message me either way. Like I said, any form is depending on what stage they're in. will dictate kind of where I'd like them to message me. Like obviously, if they're just starting out into vetting, the easiest part is just to go on the website, and where the main page is, where the main chat box is, there's literally a button on the screen for all those players that require vetting. That's a green box. You just click the green like click here box, and that actually starts an automatic PM with myself on the site. And then from there, I just kind of go through the information based on why that player is in vetting. And then from there, we just kind of discuss things via the website. So once in a while, I do require screenshots. So that's kind of what the slowdown can be for some people.
Mm-hmm.
Some guys are having a difficult time, being able to use like an imager or any other third-party image hosting thing to kind of get the images we require. But once you get through that process, it becomes very, very easy. Then, it's just, like I said, the biggest thing is to ensure that every single user on the website is one individual player, not like, a player with multiple accounts, which can cause issues in, our free-to-play stuff. So that's why we have such a lengthy and thought-out, vetting process.
No, for sure. Yeah, definitely important. That's the thing that I honestly was so stunned about when I joined LG back in 17. The fact like it's run so like tight ship, so that like this kind of stuff isn't really able to be done. So you can't have multiple tags and in different leagues to kind of build like super teams and whatnot. Like you guys police it's very, very well. So like that was impressive because you have 8,000 people, right? It's like that's a lot. That's a lot of players to make sure that none of that's going on. Let me ask you this. So when it comes to like the future of esports with sixes, what do you think the biggest hurdle is with whether it's LG or just sixes as a whole with getting with an NHL franchise? Like what would it be? What do you think the biggest hurdle is? Do you think it's just lack of they think it's just lack of interest?
I think there's a couple things that come to mind. So I think that you said it best as well. Like the Sixers community is a little bit niche instead of a niche game, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that there is a little bit of a hesitation when it comes to the NHL jumping on board something along those lines because of the fact that if they start out with something that's so niche, it may not get the attention and excitement they really want. So by starting out with the verses, they're able to bring in and draw on more people that play the game. Even too, there's a lot of people that potentially have played early NHLs, like some of the stuff from the 90s that don't play NHL anymore, but are like, oh man, my favorite NHL team's hosting a 1v1 event. I might as well buy the new console and play 1v1 because that's what I've ever known about, right?
True.
I find that the sixes in general and ESHL in general within the game needs to be promoted a little bit better, and the way the game showcases what offers on the ESHL, I think needs to improve when it comes to menus and clubs and all that stuff to really showcase what the mode has to offer, because it kind of does offer some of the best online experience possible. And then you jump into what's required for an actual esporting event. These are teams of 6. You want to bring in the final 4 for an event. That's 24 people. That's 24 players from potentially all over North America. That's room and accommodation for probably 24 plus 1. So let's say it's 50. It tends to be a larger scale compared to what 1v1 could be, right? 1v1, the one that was in Vegas, that was what the final 8 made that or whatever. It was 6. Sorry, it was 2-2-2, right? So say that's you bring in 6 players, they each get a +1, that's 12. That's what the final 2 teams would be, right? And if say you wanted more than 2 teams for a final sixes event, well, now you're looking to be quite drastic. And so I think that's what part of the reason why it's a little bit slower.
You think doing local, starting a local, doing kind of like wrestling back in the 80s and the 70s and 80s, to try and do something where an event where it's Southern Ontario, because I don't know where majority of your signups are. I would assume Southern Ontario is probably the biggest one. But...
So right now, between Ontario and Pennsylvania, that's probably about almost 70% of LG in those 2 areas.
That's what I would think.
Yeah. But even too though, even if our website founder is in Toronto. I'm just north of Ottawa, so we're both relatively close to the Toronto area.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto's got that brand new eSports kind of stadium thing they just built. That company just built. So even if there was a company that came aboard that was offering a drastic price, if it was $100,000 price on the table, and they wanted to do it a live event, and that live event required that the players pay their own room and accommodation, I'm pretty sure. You could bring in 6 teams that are willing to pay whatever it may be to get to Toronto for an event to win a potential chance of winning $100,000, right? So I definitely think that, it could be an opportunity where if a prize pool is good enough, people will come for it, regardless of how they have to get here. So there's definitely options. But yeah, I'm really hoping, like I said, I think we know LG in general. We've spoken to the Vancouver Canucks and a couple of other NHL
Really?
teams. We've spoken to the NHL as well. We've taken the NHL through kind of what the LGHL, what our free to play leagues are and stuff, and showed them that. And I know one of the things that they said after we met them the one time was that they were super impressed with the level of depth that those leagues have to offer with waivers and trades and
That's what I was,
this
man. It's
system.
crazy.
They're just like they were super overwhelmed, almost like what the level of depth that we were at that time. So, I think that in time, once sixes becomes more and more and more, on the front, I think that they're definitely going to take an opportunity to jump into this world, because I think this is what will offer them their best bang for their buck, as well as the most exciting aspects of, esports hockey.
For sure. No, man. All right, dude. That's gonna do it for today. Thank you for hanging out with me, Brodie, and talking LG Sixes esports. I appreciate it, my man.
Yeah, no, man, I love doing this stuff. It's definitely enjoyable. It's been a fun 10 years being part of the esports sixes community, and finally being able to bring in a really awesome sponsor like Space to help us facilitate such an event is something pretty special for me. It's definitely something that I've been really working towards and really hoping for a long time. So I'm super excited to see how this all plays out, and see what team is able to come home and win this cup. So
you got a pick?
It's awesome for sure.
You got a.
You know what? I really liked the way Composure was built, and then they just lost in our current eSport event. So
saw that.
yeah, I'm not sure who I'm going to go with here. And even too, I'll probably have a better prediction once all the rosters are set up and I can kind of see who's playing where and what's going on.
For sure.
With roster sizes being 8 for this event, where the past events were only 7, it'll be interesting to see what teams and what guys play where. So once we'll have a conversation once the rosters are up, and then I'll give you my pick on who I think is gonna be able to make it big here and go all the ways.
Sounds good, man. All right, that was Short Side Wristers. I'm No Sleeves 12. You guys have a good one.